Learning curves. Learning curve. What is learning curve? Learning curve. Say for example, when a person is going to do a job which is repetitive in nature, what will happen? He will get improvement in that same job again and again. The more he is going to do it, the more he is going to improve his skill. Say for example, a hairdresser who is going to cut the hairs for the first time, what will happen? He is not trained, he has no training, or she is having no training. What will happen? He will take considerable amount of time just for cutting the hairs for the first time. The more and more hairs he is going to cut for more of the customers or clients, what will happen? His set of skills are going to get improved. That's a learning curve. So learning curve is available in those scenarios which are having heavy labor intensive jobs. People are able to accomplish a repetitive task more quickly as they do it. So the more you are going to do the repetitive task, what will happen? The more the learning will happen and more the improvement in that learning process and reducing the cost. Number two learning curve models are available. The first one is cumulative average learning model. In this one, what is happening? We are taking the cumulative average time for completing n number of units. So whatever the time is required for completing the first till the last unit, we are having learning curve. That's a cumulative. Incremental, this is the differential between the last one and the previous one, and whatever is the difference is the incremental. We are going to look into this. It is used in many different types of calculations such as job order costing. Apart from this, say for example, it's heavily used in gem industry. When the gem cutter, he is not trained, what will happen? He will require considerable amount of skills to cut the gems. So all those people who are entering that industry, the people who are young are not given the expensive gems because they do not have the required set of skills and required set of practice. So ultimately what will happen? That unskilled labor is going to do something wrong and that will be increasing the cost. Apart from this, all the rework is going to increase the cost. So what you require a person who is having that sort of skills. And apart from this, all those people who are working in those areas, they will be improving their set of skills as and when they are going to produce the goods. Cumulative average time learning model. In this model, average time of all units produced is calculated. Average time per unit for all units produced decreases by some percentage every time the production doubles. So the basic assumption of this model is that the production is getting double. The formula to calculate the total amount of time required for the total number of unit is following. Initial time for the first unit into 2 because the production is getting doubled, and LC stand for the learning curve. And the more you are going to produce it, the more you are going to get improvement in that one. But what will happen? There will be a ceiling, the upper limit, and there will be a floor, the lower limit. What will happen ultimately is that barber or that hairdresser, no matter how many clients he is going to cut or no matter how many customers he is going to cut the hairs for, what will happen? He or she cannot decrease his average time below like 10 minutes. So at the end of the day, no matter how much practice you require or how much practice you have, you will never be able to decrease your time less than 10 minutes. So the initial time is the amount required for the first unit. This is something that will be calculated. The average time per unit for all units produced decreases by some percentage every time production doubles. Say for example, we have an example over here. It says learning curve is 70%. So we are assuming that there will be a learning of 30% every time we are going to have a new product manufactured. And for 2 units takes 4 hours. So we are manufacturing 2 units. It takes 4 hours with a learning curve of 70%. If will take 70% of that amount of time, which is 5.6. Why? 4 into 2 into 0.7. 4 into 2 is to 0.7, which is 5.6. So what will happen? The more we are going to double the units, we are going to reduce the time, and that time reduction is only happening because of the learning available in that scenario, which is of 70%. For 4 units, it takes an average of 1.4 hours. How we have calculated? 5.6 divided by the 4 units. So it will be giving you 1.4 hours to make the first unit, which is 70% of the average time per unit to produce the half many units. So half many units means in order to produce 8 units, what will happen? We are going to multiply it by 5.6 by 2, 5.6 by 2 into 0.7. That will be the learning for 8 units. And whatever the output is coming, which is 7.84 divided by 8, and you will be getting the average time for unit. Now, how we can achieve for the 8? What we can do is we can multiply 4 into 2 into 0.7, okay, into 2 into 0.7. So we can use the same formula which is given in the earlier page. In this model, incremental model, the amount of time needed to produce the last unit decreases by the learning curve percentage each time the production quantity doubles. So each unit produced takes less than the last one. So what we are trying to say, that we are not going to take the cumulative, but we are going to take the incremental. So what it means? It means the difference between the last unit and the first unit. It is not possible to, without a financial calculator, it is possible to calculate only the amount of time that will be required to produce the last unit for each time the output is getting doubled. It is not possible to calculate the total number of hours required to produce all the units, because till the time we don't know how many units are produced, we cannot calculate what would be the total time. What are the benefits? Decisions such as the following can be aided by the learning curve analysis. Make or buy decisions, like say for example, if there is a learning available, what will happen? The cost of the first unit will be quite high, but with the production of each and every unit, what will happen? There will be learning, and we will be improving the set of skills, and the average cost of the product is going to go down. Number 2, in calculating the cost of the contract over its life, learning curve analysis can lead to a better bidding. In determining the break-even point, the standard cost can be adjusted. In capital budgeting, labor cost can be projected more accurately over the life of the capital investment. Production and labor budgets can be adjusted to promote learning curves, more effective evaluation of the managers. Why? Because there is learning available in the scenario. Apart from this, the basic assumption is that we are producing something which is labor intensive, and we are saying that every time the production is getting double, that's when the learning curve will be present. Limitation of the learning curve: it is applicable in a situation in which experience leads to improvement, labor intensive task. So if there is a change in the technology or the plant and machinery, there will be an improvement, but that is not learning curve. Assumption of the learning rate being constant is not real. Why? Because every time you are going to produce more and more unit, what will happen? There will be a learning till some extent. After that, what will happen? You will touch the ceiling or the floor, and there will be no more learning. Assumption in the productivity is only because the learning process, but other factors might also play important part, like new plant and machinery, new technology, new production process, new high quality of material, like all those things will play its part.